continues to care for a family of 8 in Hualien by helping their children complete their education. In Malacca, heavy rain led to floods with water as deep as 1 meter as Tzu Chi volunteers rushed to provide help. I'm Sean Scanlan. This is DaAi Headlines. Let's get started. In Xiulin Township, Hualien, there's a tin shack with 8 people living in a space of 33 square meters. More than 10 years ago, the mother of this family suffered a stroke, with Tzu Chi extending a helping hand to help the children complete their studies. Here's more.
你要谁帮你洗澡？你要二姐帮你洗哦。
大姐。
要大姐哦。
不确定。
好。
两件，哎，原来就是你。
原来就是。
你好，不确定。好的。
好啊。
眼睛。我放冷水哦。倒水。
好冷啊！1、2、3。好冷哦！
可爱哦。
对啊。
超皮的，你还不相信你以前超皮的？你觉得我们很辛苦哦？
对啊。
屁股呢？屁股呢？屁股给我，我要擦屁股。我们家就很欢乐啊，就是。
Our family is so happy. Sometimes we will help each other. Brothers and sisters got together and teased about the past, talking about our life it was. Everyone loved. No matter how hard it is, we still have to live. Tomorrow will comes. Why do you have to live so sad?
你以前怎样？可爱哦。
对啊。
岁月不饶人。对。天哪。变很多。天哪。
She just slapped me on the shoulder and said, "You have to keep going," which shocked me. Back then, my mother fell down. She thought that I was having a hard time. Every time she came over, she would give us some encouragement. It was like she came to help us recharge.
她来帮我们充电吧，才有那个力量这样。
I really couldn't pay the tuition fee. When I was in elementary school, the teacher called those who didn't pay the tuition and lunch to the library. Then I saw some children from families similar to ours sitting over there. We looked at each other and wait for the lunchtime to pass. I felt very pitiful because I didn't have anything to eat.
Yingxue is really scared of being poor. After that, she said that I definitely don't want to be poor. She has been working hard. It's hard to have no money. We even have borrowed money for living before.
Having this kind of family life, we didn't complain about our family situation or why our family was like that. Instead, we will think how to improve our family situation and our quality of life.
我们要如何去改善？
银雪跟银山都回来了。
这边。
Hello， 姑娘，还好吗？要帮他修缮，这个是我们。
Helping him repair the house is something we wanted to do early on. It's just a matter of property rights. There is no way to clarify this part, but we are willing to help even if it can't be clarified.
我们也愿意协助。
宝贝说不要，他说
My father said no, and Tzu Chi auntie asked him, "Are you sure? If you miss it, there will be no more." Then he still said no. I think our house is pretty good, just fine, because we are used to it. I think if we have the ability, we can build it on our own. Tzu Chi can use its money to help other people who really need it. We grew up looking at my dad's back, so we know that he is like this.
陈先生，这个是三个月的，然后那个竹筒的上次是666，在这边。在他开始缴功德款的时候，我想他的
When he started to give donations, his financial status was poor. But when he handed the coin bank filled with coins to me, I felt that his heart was more sincere than anything else.
那份的心意，比什么都还要厚重。
That's my appreciation. I will donate as much as I can. I have a bamboo tube to save money, and I will give it to Tzu Chi if I save it full. You see, I already have a copy of the receipt. I've donated for 5 years. Although it is just a small amount of money, that is my heart. I want to help people who are in difficulty. Although what we can do is small, Tzu Chi can gather it together, which is a sum of money that can help many people. Tzu Chi Foundation's Silent Mentor program allows the deceased to turn over their bodies to the local medical students. And the Simulation Medical Center, established by Tzu Chi Medical School, also provides more opportunities for simulated surgeries, further enhancing domestic medical education. Take a look.
第一刀就是放在我们的大体老师身上，不是在真正的病人身上。
When we persuaded Dad, we told him not to donate his body. He said when he passes, his body would be useless. If it turns out to be ashes after being buried in the soil, then he would prefer donating it to the schools so that these students could learn from it and save more people.
This is the second simulation surgery in 2021. It is also a place where medical simulation surgery can be performed after the pandemic outbreaks throughout the world. This time, there are 8 donors who donated their bodies as silent mentors for this group of doctors. Teacher Yuan Lihua, who was born in Jiayi, suffered from esophageal cancer and passed away at the age of 48. As she had suffered the pain of illness, she decided to donate her body when she was alive, hoping to contribute to Taiwan's medical education.
My mother was seriously ill at that time, and even when I called her, she didn't respond. A Tzu Chi uncle came to care for her. When the uncle told her that all the procedure was completed and she could become a silent mentor, then my mother opened her eyes wide and nodded. I was very surprised at that time, as I know that my mother was very determined to be a silent mentor.
Although she was reluctant, Teacher Yun's daughters fulfilled her mother's last wish.
My mother was actually a very enthusiastic person. She treated everyone with passion, and she was very willing to listen to others. She always taught us to pass every day happily, instead of being sad. So no matter what difficulties we encounter, we just face it happily.
Teacher Yun has left her family a good example of treating everything with earnest enthusiasm. It is also a reminder to all the participating physicians involved in this surgery. The life stories of the 8 silent mentors were all written on the wall by the participating physicians.
Silence means the donor doesn't teach with his voice, but his body, which is the soundest way to let students learn as they cut his body. The so-called mentor in English means a teacher, the spiritual teacher. Through knowing his actions in his life, we can have a better understanding towards life, or set it as our learning direction.
By writing the stories of the silent mentors, students can better understand their lives as they make every cut on the bodies of the silent mentors. In fact, the current medical education environment is much better than it was before the 1990s.
因为那个年代用的是无主的遗体，
Back then, the body used was anonymous, who might be in a bad condition when he died, so the body was a little distorted. The General Anatomy Laboratory at that time had a strong taste of formalin. When I studied in the National Taiwan University, it was stipulated that we should not wear gloves as a sign of respecting the donors. Every time when we finished an experiment, our hands would go wrinkly. Our noses, both inside and outside, were numb, and our eyes were very watery.
鼻子都麻的，里面都是麻的，除了很呛，眼睛很呛了，鼻子都是麻的。
Zheng Guofan, the director of the Medical Simulation Center of Tzu Chi Medical School, is a senior professor with more than 40 years of anatomy experience. He recalled the difficult times when during experiments in the internship year and felt a lot. The Simulation Medical Center, established by Tzu Chi Medical School, has upgraded Taiwan's medical education resources and launched the Silent Mentor program.
From a religious and Buddhist point of view, which is based on compassion and humanitarianism, the anonymous bodies should not be dissected, as these people did not agree to do so when they were alive. Because of this, we have launched the Silent Mentor program to encourage people to donate their bodies after they passed.
Tzu Chi volunteers have set up a caring team to accompany the donors and their families to fulfill this large wish of turning their bodies for greater use.
We follow the case from the beginning to the end. From the beginning, when somebody expresses his wish to be a silent mentor, we have to explain the details to his family, and in the end, we need to arrange delivery of the body for cremation. Sometimes there's only one staff in the ambulance, so we have to help move the body. If the driver of the hearse is not available, we have to be the driver too. Dad used to be a teacher before retired. He used to take care of children and teach them. So we have this opportunity to donate his body for these interns to learn, to be of great help to the school in the future.
对学校以后帮助会大。
因为往生者看很多人了，有的都比我们年轻。
I have come across many deceased. Some are younger than us, 20s, 30s, 40s, and even 90 years old. The 90s, I would treat them as my seniors, while the younger ones, I would treat them as my own children.
小的我们就把它当成我们自己的孩子来看待。
这里是一个理应大同篇的世界啊。
This is a world of great unity and is equally shared by all of us. We don't charge a dime to others, but just offer our helping hands to make a perfect world. It is expected that through the hands of the doctors, this cycle of giving back to society can be lasting forever. In Malacca, Malaysia, heavy rain led to severe floods in many districts. In some places, the water was as deep as 1 meter. Tzu Chi volunteers rushed to provide care and help the residents evacuate. After the water subsided, they helped the residents clean up their home. Here's more.
Volunteers wade in the water to provide care in evacuated residents.
A few Tzu Chi brothers went to take a look. When I went inside, the floodwater was already deep.
When I arrived, I met a Malay woman. She was very nervous because her 3 children were still inside the house. There were 2 children standing on the floating sofa. The water was very deep that the sofa was floating. We carried the 5-year-old child and a 3-year-old child outside. Then we helped the grandma, who was holding an infant. They got on a truck. It is the 3rd time it flooded. It is about 2 meters, nearly 3 meters deep.
It rained heavily on the morning of May 17th, leading to floods in many districts in Malacca.
I've lived here for about 16 to 17 years, and this is the first time it flooded. It started raining at 5 a.m., then it rained more heavily, and at about 7 a.m., the water rushed in here. Look, they have all been soaked in water. I would throw them away. As they have been soaked, it is because the water was too deep.
The furniture and electric appliances have been soaked in water and there's mud everywhere. For 2 days, volunteers helped the residents with cleanup. The Dama families have also been affected.
We thought we could mobilize several volunteers and carry out cleanup work in several families. We are very grateful. If Tzu Chi volunteers did not come, we would really have a hard time cleaning up. They took the initiative to come here. I'm very happy. They've calmed my mind. As I have peace of mind now, I feel really blessed.
Facing the pandemic and flood, volunteers and residents help each other through the difficult times.
Li Sitong lives in Malaysia and grew up in a Tzu Chi family. She has been participating in related activities with her parents since she was a child. She is not only environmentally conscious, but also hopes to pass on this kindness to more young people. Take a look. The little column of water coming from the faucet is a long-term understanding between mother and daughter.
I already have this habit, so I think it's okay and it's not troublesome at all. You become used to this action, so you don't have to think about doing this action deliberately.
When they use more water, I will remind everyone that they shouldn't waste water like. Just use enough to do washing. And if you can recycle it, please continue recycle it. Don't waste water.
Growing up in a Tzu Chi family, Sitong grew up watching her mother use a bucket of water for multiple purposes. In 2013, she went to a university and experienced a dilemma of no water availability. She soon understood the true meaning of water conservation.
It didn't rain for a long time, and then we started to control the water supply. For a few months, you had to allocate water, for example, for brushing your teeth or drinking water. You actually don't begin to think that water is really valuable until you experience the loss of it.
After receiving Tzu Chi's humanitarian education for 21 years, even if Sitong studies away from home, she never misses the chance to participate in monthly Tzu Xiao activities.
Usually on Fridays, I'll come back because Tzu Xiao class is on Sunday. Then on Sunday, after I finish class, I usually go back in the afternoon.
I have known her for so many years, starting as a Tzu Sao. Later, she graduated and became a Tzu Qing. She still comes back to our Tzu Sao classes, even though she is studying in Kuala Lumpur. But as long as she has time, she will come back here.
She also became a vegetarian with her family. Influenced by her friends, she once succumbed to temptations of meat, but she quickly found her original intention.
The main thing is not killing animals. I feel pity for the animals. I clearly know the goal and the reason for being vegetarian. I thought about my original intention of becoming a vegetarian, and then I have persisted until now.
She has been involved in Tzu Chi activities since she was a child and has grown up with a rich education and knowledge of love and kindness that she wants to share with more young people. In 2019, the Bureau of Standards Metrology and Inspection conducted an investigation of LED bulbs on the market. Found that 1/3 failed to meet standards. Today we visit one such lighting laboratory in Hsinchu, which studies and tests these LED bulbs for the benefit of consumers. Here's more.
We walk into a lighting laboratory where some of these lights have not been turned off for 365 days.
In 2019 and 2018, we bought 21 sets of LED bulbs on the market. And there were 9 sets of LED bulbs that did not meet the required standards.
This experiment tests the lifespan of commercially available LED bulbs. After investigation, it was revealed that as many as 1/3 of LED lights failed to meet their indicated lifespan.
This included foreign and domestic brands, most coming from Taiwan or China. We will ask them to recall the product and make the correction within a time limit. Otherwise, the registration certificate will be revoked.
If you do not pass the test, your product will be taken off the shelf. But testing is not as simple as plugging in a light bulb. Before the longevity test, the bulb has to go into this big ball and stay for an hour.
During our process of measurement, we'll seal the sphere. Then the light being tested will be totally reflected and evenly dispersed inside. Then we will measure light transmission.
This one is called the integrating sphere, and it will get the basic data of the bulb's luminous flux, color temperature, luminous efficiency, etc., for the purpose of a before and after comparison.
After lighting the bulb for 6,000 hours, we take it to our integrating sphere again and see if there's any decline in its lighting characteristics.
After being on for 6,000 hours, about 1/4 of the stated lifespan of LED bulbs, and it still works, is just the first item of the exam. Experts say that the cause of breakage in most LED lights is related to heat dissipation technology.
If it does not light up, this may be due to the electronic components. After a long period of measurement, the temperature of the bulb in a confined space may rise and cause damage to these components. There may be a problem with the main power supply to these components, which causes the bulb to die.
This lighting marathon requires technicians to pay careful attention. Any interruption will mean that all efforts will be lost. After lighting for a period, the bulbs return to the integrating sphere for more analysis. You can see that the red line is the luminous flux before lighting, and the green line is the value after being lit. Obviously, the luminous flux is declining, but as long as it can maintain above 70%, it meets regulations as a qualified product. In fact, the knowledge of light bulbs runs very deep at the Hsinchu branch of the BSMI, as a group of light bulb experts are dedicated to human safety. Set the position and the lens. This is for an important human safety test. The first item test is luminous flux, which detects the impact of light on the skin and the surface of the eyeball. And other tests is brightness, which measures blue light hazard.
Blue light mainly affects the human body, harming the retina, so we have to test and evaluate the brightness of the bulbs.
The light produced by LED chips in a bulb is actually blue light. According to national standards, it is light with a wavelength of 300 to 700 nanometers on the light spectrum. Because of its short wavelength and high energy, this visible light is closest to ultraviolet, not to be ignored.
From the graph, we can clearly see the main energy of the LED bulb. The distribution range of that energy is actually just concentrated at 300 to 700 nanometer. This is why for LED light sources, everyone is concerned about the blue light hazard.
But don't worry too much, as standard LED bulbs are coated with silver powder to reduce blue light. If they do not meet standards, they are considered defective.
The LED bulb uses blue light to excite phosphor and generate the light source. If the light source is not uniformly coated, blue light may escape.
The number of LED bulbs on the market are dazzling, and this BSMI lab in Hsinchu guards not only the pocketbooks of consumers day and night, but also their health and safety.
The pandemic continues to spread, even affecting Taiwan, as Tzu Chi will soon distribute 3,000 boxes of daily use supplies to assist low-income households in New Taipei City. We leave you with these images. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.